Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of UMass Sports Weekly. I'm your host, Casey Johnston. We have a very special spring sports exclusive tonight. We'll start off the show talking about the baseball team and their season so far. But in studio tonight, we have a four-year baseball standout, Dylan Began, to come in for an interview. We'll talk with him a bit about the team this season and also about his four-year career here at UMass. And then we'll finish it up and also talk about the lacrosse team for the men's and the women's. This is UMass Sports Weekly.
This is UMass Sports Weekly.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of UMass Sports Weekly. Now, joining me at the table to discuss UMass baseball, to my right, Jake Liberty, and to my left, Mark the Shark Daly. Guys, now, we know we've covered the baseball team so far this season. They've been on the road. They've been traveling a lot. Haven't had a chance for a home game with the crappy weather we've been having. Finally had a good day today, which was nice. But the UMass team has just started conference play. Now, this is obviously much more important to this team because really when it comes down to it, the conference play is what really matters. That's the title they're going for. That's what you want to win. And so far have seen some success in the beginning games of this conference play. Started off, opened up against LaSalle in Philadelphia, again on the road. Haven't got a home game in yet, but did see some success starting conference play against LaSalle. Mark, what did we see from the baseball team while playing in Philadelphia?
Well, going back to the LaSalle game, it was a series they took 2 out of 3 games from. They won their first 2 games of the conference in their second and third games of the season. And just talk about the LaSalle team, in that first game, the Friday game, going back to March 21st, a game that should have been in Amherst to begin with. But as obviously the field conditions weren't prepared, we had to play the game down there. So to come back and get 2 out of 3 from a tough team on the road, it was definitely impressive. And one of the first impressive things that you look at, especially with that first game, is they were down 5-1 at one point. In the 6th inning, they're down 5-1. They were able to come back, make it a game, tie it up, and actually go to extra innings and 1 inning extra innings. Talking about one of our guests that's going to be in the studio today, Dylan Began. He hit his second home run of the season in that game, a game that featured, we're down, as I mentioned, 5-1 at one point. But they did not give up. They kept playing. And for a team that had only had 1 win previous to this game, it was a really great sign to see that they weren't quitting, that they were still willing to come back, and even being down big in the game, that they were able to come back. And so it was definitely a good sign to see. And it wasn't just, Began had a big home run in that play, but we saw a couple of other players have some key hits as well, a couple singles, and then just playing the small ball, a couple sacrifices, taking pitches, earning the walk, scoring on wild pitches. So that was pretty impressive from that standpoint. That the team, it's a young team. They do have a few leaders, but for the most part, it's a young team. So they're not going to be full of power. And that's looking at their record so far, they haven't scored a lot of runs. But they've learned how to win in other ways. You can't always rely on the home run, the deep ball to win. And in that first game with LaSalle, they ended up winning 7-6, and that game was a pure example of playing small ball and making the small things turn into big things, and that was the case in this game. Going on to the second game of the series, this March 22nd was a Saturday game. Another game that they ended up winning, the second of the series. They ended up winning 8-6. Big game there. Kellen Pagel, used to be the UMass quarterback a couple years back, now playing baseball. He had his first career home run. One that ended up, they were down at one point, put them back up ahead. They ended up winning 8-6. Also an impressive win. Nice to see him contributing to the team as a senior. All seniors right now, they're really going to be looked upon to lead this team, and he really needed to step up a little bit. And this was an example of him just doing that, and I thought that was pretty impressive as well. Yeah, now it's good to see the success there. Starting off in A-10 play, you want to start off on a positive note and try to keep that going. Now, they didn't have a lot of luck with the scheduling here because following up that LaSalle series, immediately off
to take on Richmond in Virginia. Now, this is a very solid A10 team. So they knew that it wasn't going to be another easy, well, I shouldn't say easy because LaSalle wasn't exactly easy wins, but it wasn't going to be an easy game to go in and take. So what happened going in facing Richmond?
Like you said, Richmond's a very good A10 team, very good baseball program there. We, basically crap the bed. Ended up going 0-3 in the series. Not the type of series we were looking for after the strong 2-1 series against LaSalle. Game 1, it wasn't a big loss, 6-4, and that's one thing that you've seen the team throughout this entire year sort of cut down the losses from last year. They were getting blown out last year. This year they're making it close. You can definitely see improvements from the beginning of the year. However, it's still not getting there. First game, game of cat and mouse actually. Richmond led 2-0. UMass tied it up 2-2. Then Richmond 5-2. UMass 5-4. But with a run in the bottom of the 8th, Richmond ended up sealing the deal with a 6-4 win. Sophomore Brandon Walsh, however, went 4 for 5 at the plate with an RBI and stolen base. So, good game there. Game 2, not so much. Doubleheader. Lost 10-1. It's a huge setback for the team. It wasn't the game they were looking for. Right away, Richmond had a 5-0 lead with a 2-run shot in the bottom of the 3rd and 3 more on 5 hits in the 5th. UMass scored its only run by a double by Sanford, single up the middle by Addy, and a sacrifice fly by Pickard. Richmond ended up scoring 4 more runs in the 6th and the 10th and final run in the 7th. Not the game, like I said, that we were looking for. It's really, it was a big setback from Game 1 and from the LaSalle series. So, I don't know if it was a doubleheader, maybe just back-to-back got to them. But, you haven't seen them play that poorly since, I'd say, the beginning of the year, which is good in aspects of them improving. Mm-hmm. However, it wasn't the game that we were hoping for. Mm-hmm. Game 3 did go better. Still a loss, but we ended up cutting back a 4-0 deficit and came back to tie it at 4-4. Mike Ganellis, his first career home run, it was a 2-run shot to right center. Congratulations, Mike. Brandon Walsh again hit an RBI single in the 7th to make it 4-3. The top of 8th, UMass earned 2 more, making it 5-4, taking the lead for the first time since the LaSalle series. That's improvements there. However, they did end up slacking towards the end of the game, with Richmond scoring 4 more at the next at-bat and sealing the deal there. It wasn't the series that we were looking for. Richmond, again, is a very good program. So the first, I'd say Game 1 and Game 3, we held our own against them. I think that's a big improvement. Game 2, you just sort of have to put out of mind.
Yeah, you mentioned the improvements. Game 1 and Game 3, we're seeing it, and we've been seeing it as the season progresses as well. So there is some positives to take out of that. The 0-3 series is pretty tough. You don't like to see that. Like you said, doubleheader, that's really tough to lose 2 in a doubleheader. Tough day for a baseball team there. But it is good to see some improvements as this season's going on. And now as the season continues, there's a lot more ease on the team. If you look at their schedule as the season continues, we will see a lot more home games for this UMass team, barring the weather. If winter goes into June, who knows? And we will also see a lot of conference games. Those are 2 things the Minutemen definitely want to be seeing as they look forward for the rest of the season. Now, Mark, as we look into these games coming up, who do you see on this team that could be a standout to help turn things around?
Well, you're definitely going to have to look at your seniors to make a big difference. They're the ones that the rest of the team depends on, the coaches depend on to literally lead the team. And one of those players has to be that we have to look at that's going to help do that is third baseman Nick Campero. He has played in all 19 games, started all 19 games at third base. He's leading the team he's second in home runs. He's leading the team in hits. He has third best batting average on the team. So he's one of those guys that he's producing at all sorts of different stats and different levels that's going to help this team as we go forward. I mean, as you mentioned, they're going to be playing 10 of the next 11 games are at home. And that, being able to play at home, not have to worry about traveling, getting on airplanes, getting on long bus rides, the fact that they just have to go down, just play right behind Mullen Center there. that's going to help them. But then when you have the leaders like this guy who comes in and he's already doing well, the fact that they can play at home against a schedule against teams that are not at the top of the A10, but they're in the middle, right around where they are. It's going to be a positive going forward, and he's one of those guys that can lead this team.
Now, Jake, you mentioned seniors. What other senior do you think that can help this team?
I mean, none other than our special guest in the studio today, first baseman Dylan Began. Throughout his 4 years of playing UMass baseball, he's seen such an improvement as a player. He's always been a great player. His first season, he ended up starting 26 out of 29 games. Right off the bat, he just came in and really made a name for himself. You can see that in all his years playing, especially this year. He's a leader on the team, and you need someone like that, along with Nick Campero, to really lead this team. And like I mentioned, improvements since the beginning of the season. And you really have to owe it up to these two guys. Seniors, their last season, they want to see a big improvement. This year he has several career highs already this year. 4 hits at North Carolina A&T, 2 doubles at Richmond in a game, 5 RBIs at NC A&T. He's really doing well. I think the seniors stepped it up like they had to, and I definitely see big improvements.
Yeah, and you can see why we are definitely excited to have him in studio. Guys, good stuff there. Thanks for talking, and we will be right back with Dylan Began live in studio next. Welcome back to UMass Sports Weekly. Now joining me at the table, we are very honored to have him in studio. First baseman, 4-year starter for the UMass Minutemen baseball team, Dylan Began. Dylan, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Now, I don't know if you saw in our previous segment, we talked a little bit about the team so far this year. Tough start to the season, a couple of losses, but a lot of it was spent on the road. You guys were hopping everywhere, state to state, traveling around. Haven't had the chance to get a home game in, really. So you got this home stretch coming up, a lot of in-conference games, and you'll be at home over the next 2 weeks. What do you think the team needs to do with this opportunity to turn the season around?
I think playing at home is big for us. Obviously, being on the road, I think it's for 6 weekends of the season, is tough. I mean, it's a lot of traveling on your body, flying, a 10-hour bus trip last weekend to Virginia one way. So that's obviously taxing mentally and physically. So I think we just need to relax. We just need to come back to an environment where we're all comfortable, where we've been for pretty much since we got back to school, start the year. So we just need to relax and try to stay within ourselves and just enjoy the fact that we can play here in front of a comfortable environment we've been in before.
Now that you're back at home, now this is when we'll see the conference games really start to pile up. You just started with the LaSalle series, experienced some success there, winning the first 2, taking 2 out of 3, and then followed up with Richmond. Not so much there, but a very solid team in Richmond. Do you find that your team will be able to have more success in conference play, and is that the ultimate goal of the team?
I think you always have to expect to have success. I mean, if you're not confident when you're playing, it's going to be tough to produce. And I have a lot of confidence in our team. I mean, I have since day one. I think everyone on our team would agree. We have a lot of confidence in each other. So we expect to do well, and we just have to continue to work hard and kind of just let the results take care of themselves.
So we mentioned you've been here for 4 years. You've been playing all 4 years, been a starter. And it's been kind of a down 4 years for the program. They haven't seen a whole lot of success that really UMass likes to see in a lot of their programs that we try to see throughout. But with a lot of programs like that, we know there's usually stuff going on behind the scenes that is looking towards the future. So in your 4 years, having so much experience with this team, what sort of things have you seen going on behind the scenes that are really developing this team for the future?
Well, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. I mean, obviously practicing a lot. I mean, there's team meetings. We have lifts, mandatory lifts. I mean, it's kind of like a brotherhood, I guess, and you kind of have to just take it like one stride at a time. And since I got here 4 years ago, I mean, I think we've taken a lot of strides as a team and as a program especially. So, I mean, the success on the field hasn't quite been there, and it's kind of disappointing considering we work real hard, I feel, off the field, and that's the most disappointing part for us. But I would say there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to kind of help us and just guide us in the direction to be most successful.
Now, looking back 4 years ago, we're doing a lot of talking how it's been 4 years, getting to the end of your career. So you're a senior back in Vermont. What is it that makes you choose UMass and want to come here and play baseball?
Honestly, it was a spot I thought I could come and play, and I could contribute right off. And coming out of high school, I mean, obviously a lot of us, we were one of the better players on our high school teams. I feel like any D1 athlete could say that in any sport. So you don't want to sit, and I think that was the biggest thing, was I didn't want to go somewhere big and have to sit and not be able to play. And as a competitor, you always want to play. So I definitely wanted to play right off, and I thought it was a spot I could help the team. There's a lot of talks with the coaches, obviously, before I got here, about what my role would be, what it could possibly be, and whatnot. So being close to home, too, I would say, definitely. Close to my family, so it's always nice to have them come see me play. But I think the main reason was so I could play right off, probably.
Yeah, well, based on your 4-year production, I think it's easy to say we're all very glad you made that decision 4 years ago, and we have been able to see you play over those 4 years and contribute. Now, last year, you guys had very distinct opportunity to go play on Fenway Park in the Beanpot tournament. I think that's pretty much any baseball player's dream, to play in one of the big parks like that. And you found some success there, too. 2 for 4, 2 doubles, RBI. So what was it like as a lifetime baseball player to not only play a game on Fenway Park, but also find some success in that game as well?
I think, like you said, it's a dream come true. Obviously, Fenway's a historic and very monumental place to play. If you're a baseball fan, I mean, you know what Fenway is, obviously, especially being in the Boston area. So it was special for everybody on our team. I mean, it took a few minutes when we first got there to just take it all in, kind of soak in the fact we were playing at Fenway Park. A lot of us had family there, which made it that much more special for us. So it was just a special moment, I think, that none of us will ever forget.
Yeah, so, I mean, that could be an easy memory there to pull to for when people ask you stuff you really remember. So I stole that in the question. So besides Fenway, what is one of your best memories here in your 4 years with the baseball team?
That's tough. There's been a lot, honestly. I would say sophomore year, though, probably the success we had making the A-10 tourney for the first time in, I think it was 8 or 9 years. The group of guys we had, it was just probably one of the better experiences I've had with baseball, and it was a lot of fun, and definitely a moment I'll never forget.
Now that you're graduating and moving on from this 4-year career, what is something you're going to miss most about competing with UMass baseball team?
Oof. Man, probably the being with the guys every day. It is like a fraternity in its own right. I mean, we're all pretty much brothers, so that's probably the toughest part, is going to be not being able to be on a team anymore. When I go see people play or watch a sporting event, I see the team, and it's like there'll be a part of me that's missing almost all the guys. So that'll probably be the toughest part.
And finally, now that you're moving on, career's coming to an end, this is the final season. What are your plans for post-UMass, post-graduation? What do you hope to do?
I mean, ever since I was little, obviously playing baseball after college was a huge plan. So I hope there's a possibility for that. I mean, that's not something I can really think about constantly. I have to focus on the season. But, I mean, if it happens, I would definitely be very happy if it did. But if not, I mean, I just have to move on, I think, and just realize that there's more that I can give out there besides baseball, and I just have to move on with that, probably.
Well, Dylan, we wish you the best of luck in your future plans, and also in your very near future plans as you look towards the rest of the season, this home stretch, conference games, and we appreciate your performance over your career as well. You have contributed a lot to this team, and of course, we appreciate you contributing to this show very much.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, too.
Of course.
Really appreciate it.
All right, Dylan, we appreciate it, and we appreciate you at home for watching. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back with UMass Lacrosse.
10th-ranked UMass women's lacrosse team is known for its offensive power, averaging 12 goals a game so far this season. One of the leaders of that stellar offense is senior attacker Sam Rush.
Yeah, I picked up my first stick when I was 5 years old, and I've been playing ever since. So that's like 17 years, and besides going to school, I can't think of something I've done longer. It's just, I guess, a part of who I am, and the opportunity to play at a college level wasn't even an option. It was just, I knew I was going to do it, and playing travel throughout high school and playing on a high school team, it didn't even cross my mind to end my career then. I wanted to go as far as I could.
During her time at UMass, Rush has developed into one of the Minutewomen's biggest offensive threats. Last year, she set a new team record, scoring 65 goals in a single season, and she currently ranks 5th on the team's list of all-time goal scorers with 142 career goals.
I think what probably separates her from a lot of other Division I players is her lacrosse IQ and her overall game sense when she's on the field, and also when she's off it. She's able to direct players. She communicates very efficiently on the field to make sure that we're getting the best looks possible for our offense. So, she just reads situations very well. She has, fantastic stick work. Her ability to finish and her composure and poise around the cage is, one of the best that I've ever seen. And probably statistically speaking, she's probably one of the best shooters in terms of efficiency that I've ever coached because, she just finishes, that's what she does.
But personal accolades aren't the first priority for Rush. For her, it's all about getting the win.
I mean, it's a great feeling. I'm glad that I can do my part to help the team win. I think looking back, I'm probably going to remember winning the A10 championship hopefully every year I've been here more than I'm going to remember how many goals I scored. I'm just glad we could win as a team and go farther every year I've been here. I think that's been the goal since day one.
Over the past 4 seasons, Rush has developed a powerful partnership with fellow senior attacker Katie Ferris. The dynamic duo have combined for 329 goals and 452 points so far over their careers.
The connection that between the 4 years of her and Katie playing together, it's like one of those things that you're looking at with Jordan and Pippen, you know what I mean? It's just that the two of them needed each other to, be successful and lead their teams to victories and championships. And it's the same type of deal where, they really just, it's just one of those things that they just have that connection. It can't really necessarily be explained that, they just kind of move in sync with each other and always looking to make plays together.
Me and Katie do a lot together. We live together. We've played together for 4 years. We're in the same grade. We have most of the same friends. I think it just has to do with us just bouncing off of each other. I know when she's going to throw it, and she knows where I'm going to catch it before the ball even gets there. It's really nice having someone that knows exactly what I'm going to do before even I know I'm going to do it.
Now that she's in the final season of her career, Rush wants to make sure she leaves on a high note.
I don't want to have any regrets. It's always been, well, there's next year, well, I can do that when I'm a senior or anything like that, but come May, I'm going to be done and not playing anymore, so I'm really looking at it as taking opportunity of every chance I get and just making it a good one.
And Rush and the Minutewomen will be trying to take this chance to have their best season yet. I'm Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan, and this is UMass Sports Weekly.
Welcome back to UMass Sports Weekly. Now joining me at the table to discuss men's and women's lacrosse, JMS Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan, and stepping into the ring with him tonight, to my left, Adamo Pulzone. Now, guys, let's keep it nice. Let's play it fair here, because there's a lot of positive stuff going on to talk about in the lacrosse segment. So we can keep this nice. You guys can be on the same team if you'd like, even.
I guess.
But we'll stay positive around here, and I'm going to get interfering if anything happens otherwise. Now, we'll start it off with women's. We were just talking about their loss to Northwestern. They women's ranked number 10, Northwestern ranked number 7. Lost 10-6. A lot of similar numbers going on there. I know it can get confusing. But, JMS, we were just saying that this is a positive loss for this team. We saw a lot of good come out of this 10-6 loss. So why don't you start it off with this game and tell us a little bit what you saw.
Yeah. Well, like you say, Casey, it is a bit weird to call anything a good loss because, no team wants to lose. But when you look back at the history of UMass taking on Northwestern, I mean, first of all, they haven't beaten them in 12 or 13 matchups in, these two teams' history of facing each other. So, it was a bit of a long shot going into this game against Northwestern. And then when you look at the margin of defeat in this particular game, I believe the last 9 matchups against Northwestern in the history between these two teams, Northwestern had won by at least 10 goals. So holding them to a 4-goal margin of victory in this particular game, is pretty good and says a lot about how good this team is in this particular year to hold such a tough opponent as Northwestern to, just a 10-6 victory. I mean, it says a lot about where they are offensively and defensively, especially when you consider last year they lost by a score of 16-4. You know, it says a lot about how far they've come, particularly on the defensive side. I think they played very well defensively, came out pretty aggressive, and were able to hold Northwestern pretty well. Rachel Valarelli played a particularly excellent game in goal, came up with 8 big saves. So I think it was just a great all-around effort, particularly defensively. Showed how far the Minutewomen have really come between last year and this year.
Yeah, I think it is a big statement about this team because, like you said, we've seen them get blown out by Northwestern in the past, but still go on and have very, very successful seasons. And now they're having a successful season, keeping it very close with Northwestern. Could be a very positive sign for what's to come in this season. Now, Adamo, what else are you seeing from the Minutewomen?
Well, like you said, it was a very positive loss, especially by the margin. And I'm looking at the timing. We haven't played a conference game yet. Our next 4 games are conference games, so I like it. Actually, the rest of the season are conference games. So after dominating all season long and then barely losing to Northwestern, a team that's been hard against us all throughout history, I think it's great. I think the time is phenomenal. It's going to really light a fire under these girls, and they're going to play their hearts out, I think. And I mean, you look at the next game. They're playing against LaSalle. They're not consistent on the road. They're 6-3 on the season. St. Joseph's 3-6 on the season. They're obviously not consistent at all. I mean, if anything, like you said earlier, this is the UMass women's lacrosse season to lose if they really want to. So they got this in the bag, no problem, in my opinion.
Now, we've always seen this team have success in conference play. They're going to be coming off, as we're saying, a good loss to Northwestern, getting started in conference play, which is really where we like to see them, playing. What do you see the women doing as conference play starting? Do you see a winning out effort in conference play for this team?
Like Adamo said, this is their conference to lose. They have not lost to conference play in the past 3 years. Since Coach McMahon and Katie Ferris and Sam Rush, Kelsey McGovern, since all those players came to this team, they have not lost a game against an Atlantic 10 opponent, have won the Atlantic 10 tournament each and every one of those years. They've actually won the tournament the past 5 years, but this senior class and this coach have not lost a single regular season or playoff game against this conference, and frankly, I don't see that really changing. Like Adamo said, they've got the motivation of coming so close but still losing to a tough opponent like Northwestern. That's going to light a fire on them to really motivate them to play well against conference opponents. And frankly, where they are right now, it looks like this is going to be another great year for them in the A10, and really, it's easy enough to pick them to repeat again as A10 champions.
Yeah, you really can't argue with history. They've had so much success in this conference, and they've only gotten better. They're at the peak, I think, that we've seen them in the years we've been covering them here at the show, and it's just really exciting to see what this team's going to do in conference play, and with so much success in the past, it's really hard to say that they should lose a game. It's hard to put any game against them, and that's the clearest statement of a conference to lose right there. So obviously we're expecting big things out of this women's team as they get into conference play. We will be keeping a very close eye on them as we hope for success, and as really we plan for success around here is what it's sounding like. We got to be careful not to put too much pressure on them. But on the other side with the men, not so much to talk about there as we give you your weekly coverage with the men's lacrosse team. They, in fact, have not played in 7 days. They have been on a bit of a hiatus, just kind of hanging out. Not much, I'm sure plenty of practicing going on, but not much game being played for them. Still ranked 12th in the country, so that's good to see them sitting right there and not have to worry about a loss. But they, too, like the women's team, will begin conference play very soon, starting on Saturday against Towson. Now, this is another team, the men's team, that we like to see success from when it comes to conference play. So, JMS, I'm going to start with you. With conference play starting for this team, starting off on Towson on Saturday, what do you expect from the men in the upcoming games?
Well, I definitely think, they can give the Colonial Athletic Association a run for its money. They're ranked pretty high right now. They've had a pretty good season, but it could be definitely a tough
tough schedule coming up. I mean, the CAA is a very tough conference. They've got tough teams in there. Teams like Hofstra, which is currently also ranked a little lower. They're ranked 16 right now, I believe. But they're currently undefeated in conference play. They're 3-0 in conference play right now. And they've shown they can be a pretty tough team as well. And, you know, you look at how the team did last year, UMass did last year. They started off pretty well, and then the wheels kind of came off, and they were barely able to squeak into the playoffs. This UMass team this year has done so much better than last year already, and I think they've proven that they're not last year's team currently. Defensively, they've been outstanding, as they usually are, and they've made some strides there. Offensively, Nick Mariano's been an absolute savior for this team, and they've made so much strides on offense. And I think they're definitely a better team than they were last year. But they definitely cannot underestimate their CAA opponents. I mean, they've already lost to lower-ranked teams like Albany and Fairfield, so they definitely cannot underestimate a team just because they have a higher ranking, as they currently do, or they could get the rug pulled out from under them.
Yeah, one thing this team needs to see come tourney time or playing against teams within their conference is consistency that we didn't see in a game like Albany, losing to a team that really wasn't up to par with the skill that's on this UMass club. So really, as it gets in the conference play, you're going to need to see consistency from this team. Adamo, what are you hoping to see out of the men as they start getting into conference play?
Well, I hope, I hope they have been practicing, because once they play Hofstra, it's going to be a tough game. I like Nick Mariano has been playing fantastic, and I like how Connor Mooney's really been stepping up too. He had 6 points against Hofstra. He's been playing very well. I hope this team continues their success, and I think against Towson, it's going to be a tough game. They're coming off a tough loss against Hofstra. Now, the game after Towson is Drexel. Their defense is a little shaky, but then we play Hofstra, who's been the big guns in the conference. 3-0, completely undefeated. So as long as they can beat Towson, I think they have a chance to keep this momentum going, without a doubt.
So as we look at these spring teams, not only the baseball team we looked at earlier, not only the softball team, but also the men's and women's lacrosse team, we are getting very excited around here for conference play for all of these teams, where we hope to see plenty of success, and really where, as you can see, we expect success from these teams. And maybe that's a bad mentality, but I think it's a good problem to have, to expect success. So we'll be keeping an eye on these spring teams, especially the lacrosse team, as they continue their success. Adamo, JMS, appreciate it. And as always, we thank you at home for watching. Make sure to check us out on Facebook at UMass Sports Weekly. Give us a like there. You can check all of our segments and full episodes. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. You're #1 for UMass sports coverage. And as always, we'll see you next week. Same time, same place.